What is up, fishing addicts? On today's video, we'll be talking about I'll be talking about the update from the tournament. I do apologize, I could not record. It was extreme conditions. I mean, first day, Friday, was supposed to be sunny when we looked at the weather. We left in the morning around 6 o'clock, and when we got there, it was thunderstorms, lightning, and high winds. So I didn't want to record, and it was small drizzle. But the main reason I didn't record was we start fishing at 10, and I want to cover as much water as possible and figure out the fish. Unfortunately, we didn't do that well in the first practice day. We did catch fish, and it was on a spinner bait. Actually, I have the water was almost like chocolate milk, so I was throwing. Actually, I don't have it. Well, either way, it was a spinner bait that I was using with Colorado blades, big Colorado blades for vibration. And then we start throwing plastics. We start targeting cover the second day, which we did a lot better. Instead of fishing pre-spawn conditions, we start fishing post front and front conditions. The fish were tied up in cover. As I'll put a picture over here somewhere. The fish we were catching, they were albino bass. They were all pale, had no color to them. Pretty much everyone in our club was catching them the same way. They were all pale. I believe only one member got a bass that actually had some color to it, but water visibility was not more than 4 inches, so they were really close to cover. And like I said, it was just tough. And the second day, Saturday, was just pouring cats and dogs out there. It was horrible. I mean, it was cold. The temperatures dropped from 70 to 60, low 60s, with rain showers and wind. And final, the tournament day, it was just cold and miserable, and some drizzle in the morning. And we tried to hustle the fish. I mean, we did catch some on the cover. What it worked for me was I did catch a couple of fish on spinner, just ripping it through the grass. And the water was so high that we didn't know where the grass line was. So the only thing we could throw was plastics, and I was throwing spinner bait, crankbaits. We threw crankbaits maybe like for 5 casts, and we just picked up half the slime from the lake. So we automatically scratched the crankbaits, and we slow down our presentation. What I was doing is I was pitching my spinner bait in cover in wood, or what I think there was grass, and I would just like dead slow roll it. And I got one keeper actually on tournament day, but most of my fish came with Yum Christy Craw dipped with a little bit of scent. I use Liquid Mayhem. Most of you guys like different scents. Whichever scent you want to use. I do believe scent makes a big difference. And I did land 16 and a half incher, which was the biggest fish I got on that. Anybody that fished Mill Creek, they know over there you get 10 inches all day, every day. But unfortunately, that day or any of the practice days, we could not even catch the 10 inchers. I mean, it was a struggle. And like I said, I'll post a couple of pictures from the tournament day as I'm covering it. But what it worked for me was just that. Nothing else would work. I heard a couple of guys try using jerk baits. I mean, if crankbaits are not working, jerk baits are not gonna work. And anything else, it was just either plastic chatterbait spinner, and that's it. That was it. It was one of the toughest tournaments that I fished so far. But we did came second. Your boy came through. You know, we hustled. We did caught actually a lot of fish, and what if anybody's fishing Mill Creek, they know the rules. It's 2 fish over 15 and 3 fish under 15. So it's a tough bag to deal with in the first place. And I mean, you try to, I mean, at one point I said to my brother, I'm like, man, we gotta start trimming those tails. I mean, it was just like tiny bit off over 15. I mean, like I'm talking about tiny bit. So we had to call those fish out, and we got a couple 14 3/4 fish. So I think that made a big difference on our bank. One of the guys, actually the big fish was 3.5 pounds. So we usually, with all the tournaments that I've done with the castaways, some of us will usually get a 5, 6, 7 pounder, but this one was tough. But that said, hopefully next tournament is coming up in Mississippi Pool 13. Hopefully the weather is nice and I get picked, so I'll probably have a short video for you guys. And let's get to the JDM baits. We went out to pick up some stuff for my son, and I wanted to stop at Dick's to check out a couple musky baits. They had them on sale, and I came across two JDM Heaven. Got a whole bag of them. Oh, actually, what it caught my attention was I dropped the spin on it. Look at these bad boys. I have never seen anything that came close to it, and I am a huge fan of yo-zuri. I do think they make real good crankbaits, and they are very affordable. These are $7.99. It's yo-zuri 3DB knuckle bait. It's a 1/2 ounce. It does not have spinners, blades. I'm gonna use scissors. I'm gonna torture myself. And when I was over there, I looked up some videos on these, and people were suggesting putting a trailer on spinner baits. One thing that I don't want to do is put a trailer, like a swim bait or paddle tail behind it, or a fluke. What I would do is I'll just put a trailer hook, and it does increase the hookup ratios almost to 100%. It makes a huge difference. I mean, the 4 fish that I got on spinners, both of the hooks were in them, so there was no way that fish was coming out. So look at this, guys. Actually, I read quite a bit about this one when I was over there. This is amazing. It has a bow, and instead of spinning, this one goes side to side, creates a vibration. And this one is the one with the flash instead of the rattle. It has no rattle inside. And this swim bait, this spinner or whatever this thing is, it's a whole new ball game over here. What it's designed to do is you can just put it straight on the bottom, and this ball will float, and the spinner will sit just like this. And that's a big game changer, if you ask me. I mean, it's not, and also has a keeper, which, like I said, I'm not gonna put a paddle tail behind it or whatnot. What I do is I'll put the trailer hook behind them, and like I'm not a big fan of JDM, simply because they are freaking expensive. And yo-zuri, what I found a couple of years back, they are very affordable and they are amazing. I'll take yo-zuri over Mega Bass or any other uh, brand that there is out there. Most of them are insanely expensive, but this thing got my attention, and I got one more. Actually, I'm gonna open these up. I'm gonna use them tomorrow. Try to get some smallmouth on these. I want to see the smallmouth, small jaws action on those. See how we're gonna do. And this one is actually with the rattle in it. Instead of having a flash, this one has a rattle, and it's chartreuse, great for muddy water. I'm just gonna remove this, and as soon as the video is done, I will add the trailer hooks on these. I mean, they look amazing. Like I said, I can't say enough about yo-zuri, how affordable and the quality they have on their crankbaits. And actually, this was the, let's get this out. Lunker Hunt spinner baits. This was actually the same color that I was using. I want to get a couple extras in case I snag and lose them. I was not a big fan of spinner baits until the Milk Creek tournament. They usually catch me pike and muskie and cost me lures, and they are not very cheap. Oh, either way, can't get these things off. And yeah, real sharp hooks. Actually, the hooks on Lunker Hunt spinners are more sharper than yo-zuris. Yeah, a lot more sharper. And the other thing that I got from Lunker Hunt, it's chatterbait imitation, but this one is a little bit different. Get these. As you guys can see, the blade is stationary, and this thing moves, the skirt or the hook. So, and they have a bait keeper, which it might work, it might not work. It's not gonna keep a soft plastic that well. I can tell you that right now. But like I said, it was something that I never fished, and looks like it's gonna be pretty good, especially around wood. Usually a lot of people fish chatterbaits around wood, and I believe Strike King came up with the Rage Blade, which has a hook that swings freely. And the theory behind it is, and actually I've done some research on the free hooks. When a bass comes up to a lure, when it opens up its mouth, it sucks it in. So let's say if this is moving and the bass comes up, opens its mouth, and it's gonna freely suck the hook in his mouth. So the theory behind it is you get better hookup ratios. I did not own a Rage Blade. Simply I was amazed by Z-Man's chatterbait. I never could find a color or that I wanted to buy from Strike King. But when I saw these are pretty unique. I never seen a bait with the chatterbait with the stationary blade, so I wanted to give them a try and probably have a review coming up within a couple of weeks. I gotta spend some time in the water with those. And the main event, guys, when I saw these, my nipples got hard. These ones from Duel. These are actually yo-zuri's sister parent company. These are crank 3 plus. That means it dives 3 meters. So that would be 3 meters, probably like 9 feet. Correct me if I'm wrong. It's 3 1/4, 77 millimeter 3 plus floating. And I was reading these. This one has a tungsten magnet weight transfer system. Longest cast, though original invention. I got these for salmon, actually, for fall. And like I said, I'm a huge fan of yo-zuri. In this case, Duel, which is part of yo-zuri. Well, they are yo-zuri. And it says hardcore XX crank. I own a couple yo-zuri lures, and I love them. I mean, they're incredible. For JDM, like I said, JDM is real expensive, but these are very reasonably priced and more realistically priced than anything else. The cover is amazing, and I can tell this is a little bit heavier lure. Has a good rattle, and it said magnetic. I see. I don't know if you guys are gonna be able to see it, but I don't know if it's gonna focus. There's a little tungsten weight inside, and I believe there's a magnet in there. So when you cast it, the magnets will go on the back. So instead of the lure just spinning, it will go back first, and then once it falls and you start retrieving it, the weight is gonna go in the front. So when you stop it, when you're reeling it, the crank's gonna go like this. Once you stop it, it's not gonna float up like this. It's still gonna be face down, which imitates dying shad. If you guys done some research, wow, it's sharp. God, how easy it penetrated through my skin. Anyways, now kind of stinks. Amazing colors. Like I said, the idea behind it, it's actually very clever that they did that. If you guys have done any research or are into this stuff, like I do, I read a lot of articles, and when shad are dying, they'll make erratic movements, and they'll just point their heads down. And I have 4 plus. So like I said, these are gonna be mainly for Lake Michigan, for salmon. But amazing colors, guys. I can't say enough. I mean, a lot of people say Mega Bass has great colors, but I think there's just people are just saying it because they can say, "Oh, I'm fishing with Mega Bass." I fished with a guy last year that lost a couple Mega Bass lures, and at the end of the day, he was, within a couple of minutes actually, he was down $300. Fishing those expensive baits, it takes a toll on you, and when you lose an expensive bait, you automatically go in a negative mood. When you're in a negative mood, it affects your fishing, it affects your thinking, and everything else. I said, it says hardcore XX crank 4 plus 75F. I'm not quite sure what the 75F is. I know it's a floater, but I'm not quite. I'm not that familiar with the JDM stuff. Let me know down in the comments if you know what the numbers stand for. But this one dives a little bit deeper, and it says it has amazing colors, a lot of flash. So I'm pretty sure I'll do real good on these, especially maybe for smallmouth too. They're not that big, so for big smallies, it will be a killer down in the lake. And I got one more, actually, deep diver. This one's a 4+2, 75. I think 70. The number is how big is the crank. But yeah, this one is 4+ floating. Actually, all of them are floating. 3/4. So that's 23 grams. Amazing lures. And these were all on sale. If you get 4 or more, they're $5. The original price of these are $14.99. And there's a local tackle shop by me that has a lot of JDM, and they do sell them for that price. So when I saw these, actually I was gonna buy one of them my next paycheck, but when I saw these for $5, that's a steal. I had to get me some of these. Extremely sharp hooks. I'm gonna write a letter to yo-zuri. They should have sharp hooks on these too, because these hooks are pretty dull, and these hooks are extremely sharp. Look at the colors on this one as well. Pretty awesome. This one dives 4 meters too, so it's roughly, I can't even calculate, 10+ feet. But all of them have the same tungsten magnet action. And speaking of smallies, so I am going smallie fishing tomorrow. Hopefully no pike, no muskie tomorrow. And I got these for the smallmouth. Smallmouth do love bright colors, especially on Fox River. The water is a little bit dirtier, and when I saw this color, it just, I mean, I even went for it. And I'm not a fish. Maybe it doesn't say much about me, but I've been told I do have the attention span of a fish. And this one is called Hardcore Surface Crank 65SF. So it's a floater, and it's a bright yellow and orange top, and bottom it's orange as well. It's pretty unique color. It does have rattles, and I believe this one is 2 feet. It did say somewhere, I was reading it. Oh, in the box. It dives 0.3 meters. Casting distance max. Ring size 2. Hooks are 0.3 meters, so that's 2 feet or less. And these are amazing. I'm pretty sure, can't wait to use these tomorrow. And I have one more for the last one. I got it for a little bit clear water. There's a creek in K3 that's extremely clear, and there's trout in it. So I got something that imitates a minnow. This one has instead of having a gold line over here, it has a chrome, so it will have a lot of flash. I'm pretty sure the bait's gonna do one of these, so it will throw a lot of flash, and also it might imitate a little mice. I believe Young and Fishless last year or the year before caught a smallie that had a little mice in them. So I'm real excited to use these guys, and they do have a nice rattle. Let me know what you think about these. Would you buy a yo-zuri or a mega bass? And that said, I gotta pack up. I still have to find my fishing license. I have no idea what I did with it, and gotta get ready for tomorrow. Hopefully we'll get on some good fish, maybe some trophy bass. It's perfect time. The weather's been good for a couple of days. Water is warming up. And that said, See you guys on the water.